Right Honorable Dato Amar, Abang Haji Abdul Rahman, Zohari Bintun Datuk Abang Haji Openg, Chief Minister of Sarawak.
And a very good morning. The Honorable Deputy Chief Ministers, the Honorable Speaker of Sarawak State Legislative Assembly, the score outside Samalaju to other parts of Sarawak, especially the major urban centers. SCORE, therefore, does not mean only Samalaju. That great potential for growth using our energy resources. Ladies and gentlemen, to be able to harness the full potential growth for Sarawak is to have greater autonomy over our own destiny. Sarawak-centric, which focuses on the immediate and strategic needs of Sarawak. Our basic challenge in Sarawak is how we can build the basic infrastructure systems that are critically needed by our economy. Industrial revolution, the merging of elements of the physical, digital, and biological worlds to be characterized by cyber-physical. Sarawak has a basic ICT infrastructure which is decent enough for personal use and only in selected spots, but not good enough on which to build the future of Sarawak economy. It's only 51.8% households. Amongst the populated areas, broadband coverage is 72.1%, with blind spots. This means there is no cover for home. This is nearly 7 times slower than South Korea, with a network speed of 29 Mbps per household, according to Akamai World Network Audit Organization. 1,000 towers are not enough, not even 2,000 towers. I want 5,000 towers in Sarawak.
Thank you, the Right Honourable.
Ladies and gentlemen, IDECS 2017.
IDECS 2017.
The voice recognition verified and approved.
IT facilities that they will resist. These are the guys say, no, don't do it. So I think you have the condition, but you have to find great entrepreneurs, young people. And government should be open-minded, and government should give in policies to support those young people. You cannot make everybody successful. But if you can help those people who want to be successful, you have a chance. They can bring up a lot. So I think having people that are using more mobile phones and broadbands and encourage the entrepreneurships and also start to train your kids in the middle school, high school, and let them to know about this.
I have this Lazada badge in the office to open the doors. When I was driving home once, I got stopped by the police. And the policeman, policeman asked me about my papers, and all I said was like, what I'm doing here, all I said was, no, I'm with Lazada. And the policeman just let me go. I said, okay, fine, just go ahead. So that was a very proud moment I had. And then I knew that this is happening. I knew there is like a change happening, and I knew we're onto something. Also, he's not here now, but Don, no, he's not here. I actually bought his book while he was talking, so I think his sales pitch kind of convinced me. I went to my app, and we actually have it online. A little bit about East Malaysia, that's why we're all here. I'm also going to talk about some of the things we have already done in Sarawak and population. The internet penetration is a little bit lower than in Peninsular Malaysia, and the interesting thing is that 40% of the population by 2020 will be under 40. And that puts us in front of a big challenge, because how do you address that kind of audience? How do you interact and engage with these people? How do you enable them? How do you make them custom? Malaysia, April, May last year, and they said on average a Malaysian spends 3.8 hours per day on social media. That's on average. That means there are people that have 6-7 hours per day on social media, and this is where we need to meet them. This is where we need to understand how they think. This is where we need to learn how to interact with them. Coming to East Malaysia and the business and the relative importance of Sabah and Sarawak at Lazada, we were faster and we were cheaper. What are we doing here now to grow the digital economy even faster? And I think I will be in time today. I think I heard before that the Chief Minister said that wooden products, how great would it be if we sell them to customers in the UK? Very, very cool. But let's start with selling them from Sarawak to Peninsular Malaysia, because that's something today not everyone can do. You have a lot of sellers with local products. You have a lot of sellers that want to expand their business beyond their physical constraints, and they cannot do it. They don't have the money, they don't have the people, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the skills. But they could start selling nationwide immediately if they do it online. And that's what we need to tell them, that's what we need to show them. And I heard the word education. That's what we need to educate them how to do that in a successful way. So starting early. Because never has it been easier to be a businessman or a businesswoman and be successful than now. A lot of great local products. Buy some of them, upload them, start selling them, make money. We have more than 15,000 sellers on our platform, and less than 5% are also active in Sarawak. And that needs to change. We need to show people how it's being done, and we at Lazada will commit to this, to educate them, show them, and really nurture entrepreneurship from the ground. The times are over. My dad works and drive down the cost is through technology. So that's one of the things that those entrepreneurs, that young sellers that want to go online and start a business, that's what they need. That's what they cannot do themselves. We all talk about, learn coding and do it yourself, but that only works up to a certain size. And we experience this. It's a different ballpark when you have 500 orders per day or 5,000 or 50,000. And just because this is just a completely different technological level, and being ahead of the curve technologically. And I think also we did the mistake of believing that we can everything do better than all the others. So we try to control everything and we try to do everything ourselves. Reality is, there's so many companies already out there that do certain things and they do them so much better. It's especially here in Sarawak, we just don't see them, we just don't know about them, and we need to give them a platform, to shine. We need to give them a platform to offer their services in this ecosystem.
Well, when you move to the third platform landscape, you must be enabled by these four main pillars: cloud, big data, social, and analytics. Right? These four main pillars. Now, on top of that, we are moving into the innovation accelerators landscape, which is actually a platform 3B of this whole landscape, in that we are looking at things like, today we've heard many examples, right, from some of our distinguished speakers talking about AR, VR, robotics and drones. We've seen a lot of demonstration outside on that. 3D printing, cognitive systems, Internet of Things, and next generation security.
I think all of us benefited from getting a wider perspective, a global perspective, regional, national perspective of what things are happening in the area of digital economy. Now, I'm coming up here, hopefully, to give a local perspective of what the Sarawak government has done. In a way, to give some context to what the Chief Minister talked about this morning.
To focus on this whole idea of strategic futures by establishing teams in the government which are constantly scanning the environment, looking at opportunities, and then feeding that thinking and that understanding into the policy dimension.
It's kind of a pretty basic but challenging one at the same time, right? It's about success factors in Southeast Asia. What drives businesses to succeed in a region as diverse and as fast changing and as fast growing as Southeast Asia? And I think the answer isn't always just about technology, so I'll share a bit about that. Luckily for me, the topic that I'm covering today is actually a relatively simple one. I'm not going to be talking about artificial intelligence. I'm not going to be talking about blockchain. We're going to continue pushing on until we outserve every Kuchingite and every Sarawakian, every Malaysian and every Southeast Asian, and everybody who needs a way to move around. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Economy that we've never seen before anywhere around the world, and be the envy of the world. So I'm going to share with you 3 stories. Dan, when I met with Dan from SAINS a couple of weeks ago, he said that please share your story. Okay, so I'm going to share a bit of my story and try to tie it into my larger presentation. So like I said, I'm a very proud Sarawakian. Everywhere I go, I still talk about Sarawak. And I think that's a very unique thing about Sarawak as well, that when you see kaki lang and kucing lang. So I'm sure that when we talk about digital economy, we don't even know what it's going to look like in 10 years. But hey, at least let's start today, right? Imagine if back then when we had dial-up, and all of us say, you know what, we have dial-up, that's enough. We don't need broadband. All our kids are going to kill us, man. So that brings me to the next point. During that 1 year off, and after I sold my company, one of the things that I was very privileged and fortunate to have to do as well was to serve as an innovation advisor or fellow to the mayor of Chattanooga. And most of you guys probably have never heard of Chattanooga. It's a small little town in Tennessee. I call it the little boy playing the big boy's game, because it has a mayor who was so visionary and so revolutionary that he said that he wants to make Chattanooga the world city.
It's also a public blockchain. So you hear about this, there's the top level terminology now for this entire ecosystem, which has grown into a very complicated, but blockchains is one subset of distributed ledgers. They solve a very specific problem by having the blocks. It creates consistency and it creates security, which is not necessarily the same with distributed ledgers that do not have blocks.
System. You have that here in Sarawak. What are the other pillars? The people that came out of those institutions are the talent. If you look at the history, the founder of Google, the person who did the Google driverless car, they all came out of Stanford. They are the creative people, the catalysts, the talent. The real estate agent to find accommodation for them. You have the professional accountants and lawyers to help them craft their contracts and get their structures going. Then you have the sales and marketing people coming to sell the products. So the ecosystem builds all the time. Then you have the accelerator, the incubators, the mentorship program. So suddenly all the 6 pillars all start to come together to form that ecosystem.
Very exciting 2 days, a lot of learning for all of us, a lot of learning from me. I think I would like to ask this question to the Chief Minister, Dato Amar. What have been the key takeaways for you in the last couple of days?
Actually, I see the last 2 days very exciting period. Number one, you got a lot of new inputs that we get from the speakers on various disciplines connected